Hi guys, Sam here. This is an information DVD or information movie just on a couple of updates that we would like to reinforce in the Positive Real Estate Property Information Night. The first part of the Property Information Night which we would like to update is the Automatic Acquisition Plan. For us, this is a vanilla information tool on how we present the property strategies to our customer. It's an important part of the process, and we'd like to share this update with you. G'day guys, this is the final close to the information night. This is the only other major update we'd like you to explore. Really, it is a close that actually details all the benefits, all the services, and all the research and information that goes into making Positive Real Estate the modern company that it is today. It's important that you use these slides, because a lot of the information you might not see on a daily basis, but when you see a whole overview of the company, I feel that this information is important. When I've done this close of the Property Information Night, I've got 100% of the forms back, which is obviously, if we're getting 50% in our current format, even getting 60 or 70% would be a great result using these slides. Do test and measure it, see how it goes. So typically in the past, what we've said back from as early as 2003 up until around 2010 is that the market is made up of various elements. So what can we control? We can control the strategies, but can we control the market? And typically what we've said in the past, well, the market's not within our control. We don't make up whether there's going to be an interest rate rise or whether and we ask the audience what makes up the market, and they shout out, you know, supply and demand and infrastructure and these type of things. And what we do want to say is, well, where to invest. And really there are some elements which, if we make some great informed decision on some positive research, we can choose a great vanilla property and make money and let the market do that for us. So let's go through it. Where to invest. In real estate, there's 6 key market drivers for economic growth. If we follow these drivers for growth, we're going to make some money. Who wants to make some money in the room? Well, all of us do. Population, if we can work out where the population's moving to, we can make some money. Okay? Population is a huge driver on economic growth within the real estate market. And it affects supply and demand. Okay, where there is an oversupply of real estate, we don't necessarily want to buy. Where there's an undersupply of real estate, we want to put our money, because there's going to be pent-up demand. More demand, more pressure on the real estate market, the higher the values become. Okay, it's the old age of supply and demand. It certainly has an impact on the real estate market. So where we say, well, we can't control the market, in fact we can control the real estate market if we make some valid decisions on where supply and demand is going to be diminished. So we asked the audience who knows an area right now today, Australia, which is oversupplied of real estate, and they will let you know. In fact, to say that they will actually know the answer. If not, you can let them know. Places like the Gold Coast have a supply factor where the market is oversupplied. So what is undersupply? And they'll either let you know, or you can say a place like Sydney and give them real tangible information which is true about the market. Right. There's an old saying in real estate, capital growth follows rental returns. Okay, the highest the rental return, the more growth is going to hit that market. So let's have a look at the Australian property market, and in essence, back in 2003, Perth's rental returns were up around 6%, and so what we did, we went over and bought as much as we could in Perth. House prices were sitting around 300,000, and that was a telltale sign that capital growth was coming. Of course, by 2007, house prices had doubled in value, became 600,000, and the rental returns dropped down to 4%. For places like Darwin and Adelaide, the rental growth was there. We looked at the market, things were sitting, the rental returns were sitting around 6%, and so we migrated our money to those areas. And so, of course, what happened, particularly in Darwin, property values were sitting around 300, and by the end of their cycle, they were up around 500,000, but the rental returns were around 4%. Went to Melbourne, same thing happened. You put your money in Melbourne in 08, and by 2010, that market had virtually doubled in value. So of course, we migrated our money up to Sydney, and now we're seeing some activity in the Hunter Valley and Newcastle. And of course, the next pick after that, the yields haven't hit it yet, but down the track in 2013 will be the Brisbane market. The yield variation is an important factor in researching a property market. So the next driver for a market is, of course, the demographics. What type of people make up that area that will influence property. In real estate, there's all sorts of people who've got all sorts of money and enjoy all sorts of lifestyles. So you just need to match the property to the people and make sure those influences are strong. So the final driver for economic growth for property, so we know the market, we can research it, we know we can put our money in that marketplace, and we're going to get a bit of influence, is economics. And economics just isn't where people work and where people travel to get employed. It's certainly, I look at it differently. I look at it as a household income versus household price. So can the wages in the area afford the house? Okay, if household prices remain low, but wages grow, it's a great sign that house prices are soon going to lift. And I explain it with some simple maths. So if we took a house price worth, say, $100,000 and a wage of $1,000 a week, can $1,000 a week afford the loan of $100,000? Okay, can it afford it under current interest rates? Well, the answer is yes, it can. This is also a great time to prompt, is there going to be a housing bubble? Well, you say, can the average home or household income afford the house that's living in today? Yes. 95% of Australia today is a bearable market, and we can afford the homes or the mortgages we have, which is a great sign. So what if that $1,000 a week, what if we had some capital growth in that area? What if we had 20% capital growth? Our new home value would be 120K, okay? Our wages are still the same. Can $1,000 a week afford $120,000? Yes, it can, okay? Absolutely it can. And this is what we call equity, an equitable market. If the wages can afford the growth, and this is where you ask, do you have to be able to service equity? Of course you do. Okay, you've got to be able to be earning the money to borrow it out of your own home. The market can do that for you, and so that $20,000 that we're going to make or be able to service, it's called an equitable market. Okay, right now in Australia, there's some huge wages out in the marketplace and some low house price in areas. We just have to link or correlate the two together. If that property goes on a bit of a spike or a bit of a run, and we see that it could do another 20% year and another 20% year after that, that is what we call a sustainable market. If a market is bearable, equitable, sustainable, for us, that is a viable place to buy. So understanding the real estate market now is something that we research heavily. It is no longer acceptable to say we cannot control the market. We can control the market, we control where we can put our money, we can make some pretty informed decisions on where our money should go. Of course, the next thing we do is apply the strategies, and that's what I'll talk about next.